Lewis Hamilton's pessimistic perspective underlines the size of a problem with no short-term solution. The Mercedes Formula One driver is surely aware that his season and the goal he set for himself are over. This brings up the following question. Is Mercedes still the right team for Lewis Hamilton to fight for the record-breaking 8th championship? If not, where could he go? Like last year, the car could be able to produce brief moments of excellence, but the underlying position Hamilton and Mercedes are in today and in the near future is this. They're not battling for victories right now, and it's very doubtful they'll battle for the 2023 title. This does not imply giving up, but it does need a considerable recalibration. As his team principal Toto Wolff says, going into 2023, the expectations were that we're going to close the gap more, and we're going to be able to win more races and hopefully fight for a championship, but that hasn't happened. This will surely make Hamilton rethink about his future plans. According to people close to Hamilton, each year he returns more determined and hungry to win. With all of the issues of 2022, the disappointment, the improvement, and the promise of a major rebound in 2023, that would have surely been the case again this year, but it hasn't been the fairy tale many were hoping for. In general, Mercedes need improved aerodynamic performance, but it is also discussing mechanical balancing. There's more than one problem here. In the widest sense though, the W14 just lacks downforce. Fixing this does not imply a B-spec car. Mercedes cannot replace the chassis in the budget cap period because it's too costly, but rather major overhaul of its aerodynamic platform and the journey from this version of the car to a guaranteed superior idea that works well enough in reality to compete for victories is tough and long. Wolff claims that Mercedes understands crystal clear what we've done and why we ended up in a place that doesn't bring us performance. Assuming that is correct, Mercedes is still months away from turning that into what Wolff calls real performance on the car. But we have a big step ahead to what we've seen after the test, in terms of our understanding, he adds. Long term, there is a silver lining for Hamilton, but it will not feel very tangible at this point. If this is true, Mercedes might finish the season with a considerably more competitive car. But there's no guarantee, and with Red Bull driving into the sunset, Hamilton will have to act quickly. So what about the immediate future? For the time being, there's not much to be enthusiastic about. Further updates are on the way, and the first big package, which was originally planned and will not be affected by any idea changes, is due at Imola, still more than 2 months away. The R&D resource has already been spent on such upgrades, so it makes sense to keep crafting them in order to enhance the current version of the car as much as possible, while larger work is being done in the background. Since the W14 is beginning from a lower baseline than projected, even a few tenths improvement by Imola, assuming that's conceivable, is unlikely to offer Hamilton a race-winning car. It might be improved, which would likely limit extremes in performances as well as emotional swings. Something greater, though, will take longer. Hamilton's fury may subside as he settles to the reality of this 2023 season. Nevertheless, as much as Hamilton may be able to understand his circumstances more effectively, he is experiencing this in a raw manner for a purpose and should not be expected to conceal it all the time. Could this be the beginning of the end for the ever so successful Hamilton-Mercedes lineup? We know there are emotions at play with him, with me, with many others in the team, and that we wear our hearts on our sleeves, says Wolff, when asked about Hamilton's words on the 2022 car and the way they handled his feedback. Sometimes you say things that in the media are being very quickly translated in a controversial way or polarizing, which inside the team never cause any waves because we know that the emotions can run high. If I'm watching a lap time deficit, a coming together, or a race that doesn't go well, I'd also like to say that I'm not happy where the car has been developed to. But that's okay inside the team. We want the emotion high, and we have tough love. We are saying it straight when it's missing, and nobody's ever going to not take it on the chin. But Toto Wolff is honest and feels Lewis Hamilton has to consider leaving Mercedes if it fails to help him win again in Formula One in a year or two. Hamilton's current Mercedes contract is coming to an end, so now is the time to decide if Mercedes is the right team to deliver that wanted 8th championship title. And he has to decide this while still waiting for Mercedes to return to title-challenging form after tripping up in the first year of the new technical regulations in 2022 and getting it wrong again this season. However, team boss Toto Wolff feels Hamilton's commitment is a formality and is 100% convinced Hamilton will continue. Because realistically, where else could he go? Given that Hamilton turned 38 at the start of this season, a new Mercedes agreement may be his last in F1, and Wolff doubts Hamilton will ever leave Mercedes before retiring. He's at the stage of a career where we trust each other, and we formed a great bond among each other, and we have no reason to doubt each other, even though this is a difficult spell, said Wolff. But so nice it will be when we come out of this valley of tears and come back to solid performances. Wolff, on the other hand, has left the door open for Hamilton to join another team in the future. As a driver, nevertheless, if he wants to win another championship, he needs to make sure that he has the car, Wolff continued. And if we cannot demonstrate that we're able to give him a car in the next couple of years, then he needs to look everywhere. I don't think he's doing it at that stage, but I will not grouch if that happens in a year or two. Wolff's somewhat unusual phrasing of his customary response concerning Hamilton's future, implying that Hamilton may have to be selfish and go, is most likely a genuine and fairly generous understanding that Hamilton must do what is best for him. For years it's been a given that having the best car meant staying with Mercedes. Yet if he continues to lag behind Red Bull and other teams in this ground effect aero age, that may not be the case in the long run. Hamilton claimed before the Saudi Arabian Grand Prix weekend that he would win again in F1, and it is evident that his devotion is with Mercedes, and his drive to help the team win the World Championship again looks to be overwhelming. Yet his patience has been put to the ultimate test since joining the squad. Last year was the first time he failed to win a race in a Mercedes season, and indeed in his whole career, and Mercedes hasn't looked to be a more competitive car in Saudi Arabia than in the season opening Bahrain, when it had the fourth fastest car. So where could he go? Most reports are saying that if Hamilton is to leave Mercedes, he would want to join Ferrari. He could go to the red side with all his knowledge and try to build a title-worthy car over there in the coming years. Hamilton has already once stated that everyone in the paddock would want to drive for Ferrari, giving its history and name in the sport. If this were to happen, it would be one of the greatest comebacks in the history of the sport. But this would mean one of the two Ferrari drivers would be leaving, and the rumour goes that this would be Leclerc. And he would go to Mercedes of all teams if this were to happen, but this seems unlikely. As Charles Leclerc has responded to many reports that he may leave Ferrari for Formula One rivals Mercedes if the Scuderia fails to produce title-winning equipment. Leclerc signed a 5-year contract extension in 2020 to fully establish himself as Ferrari's long-term number one driver, with Sebastian Vettel being eased out of that role and the team. The Monegasque driver spearheaded Ferrari's initial assault on the 2022 title, but a series of strategic, reliability and operational blunders ruined his ambition. With the driver market expected to open up in the next seasons, with Lewis Hamilton and Lando Norris both out of contract in the coming years, Leclerc has been mentioned as a prospective successor for Hamilton at Mercedes. I know you're worried that I would go to Mercedes, but the truth is that there are no talks at all, he told the Italian newspaper QN. I feel good here at Ferrari and I feel the enthusiasm of the people. The idea of winning with Ferrari makes me excited. Leclerc was questioned about his long-term future during the unveiling of the SF23 in Fiorano and admitted that negotiations regarding a renewal had not yet begun. I think it's always important to be competitive, Leclerc said. Speaking about my renewal in Ferrari, it's not something that I've been particularly thinking about already. There's still a long way to go, 2 years. I'll do my best, not for the negotiations, but just for myself and for the team. You'll know for sure when the talks start, but it's not the time yet. So what do you think? Will we see a Hamilton-Leclerc swap in the coming years? Could Ferrari be the team for Hamilton to challenge the Red Bulls for his 8th title? Let us know your thoughts in the comments below. Liking the Formula One content? Don't forget to subscribe. This way you'll stay updated on the latest news. Thanks for watching and we'll see you in the next video.